Welcome back again, everyone. So this lesson is going to cover a few more advanced text techniques. These are things that you may want to have an experiment with if you're really trying to refine it and make it the absolute perfect cover. It's something that you can experiment with. So let's get started. So what we need for this is the character menu. Now this is normally located in this part here next to layers. If you can't see that, okay, you go into window and go to text and then text styles here. Okay, make sure those are popped up and make sure characters popped up. So the key one is character, and again you can see there's a keyboard shortcut, but make sure this brings up this frame here. Okay, now I'm going to show you these techniques of the masthead. Real quick one first of all is when you get to the masthead here, there's all these things: there's decoration, position and transform, and then there's typography. The quick way to check if it looks better in uppercase or lowercase, you can see there's the uppercase one there, and that will just give you a quick preview of case lowercase, a real quick thing to check. So I might look at my cover lines here, for example, and go, actually, because they're grouped, I've got to double click in. Do I prefer those cover lines in capitals? Yeah, I probably do. So rather than having to retype everything, I can just click on them and change those cover lines to capitals each time. Okay, and I'm triple clicking because I've got those grouped, so we have to break through that layer of grouping. Now with masthead here, I'm going to show you the next technique. So again, scrolling back up, this might be shown on your computer depending on your screen size. It might be something you have to scroll through like I am. Again, we've got these things here. Now, the main ones I want to cover really are this one here, okay, which is tracking. And tracking is basically the space between the letters, so it defaults to 0. But actually, sometimes with these things, it's quite nice to kind of pull them a little bit close together. So to me, for it being a masthead, that just looks a little bit too spaced. So I'm actually going to bring this down to minus 50%. And you can see it's just brought those letters together. If I put my guide back on, it means I can actually then make my masthead actually a little bit bigger on the page as well. Again, just a little bit of a tweak needed to a few pieces to do that. And again, I'm just going to change the size of my tagline here, and I'm just going to change the tracking a little bit, so I'll zoom in so you can see this. This time I might go the other way, so with my tracking, rather than pulling the letters together, which is what I've done before, I might want to separate them, so go to the other extreme, which just puts more space between letters. Again, there's no right or wrong answer here, it's just what you think looks nice. These kind of tools are something that you can play with and experiment with, and sometimes you'll hit something that looks great, but actually looking at this, I do quite like that tighter kind of letter. So I'm going to go minus 25 on here, okay? And then if I zoom this back out and go back to my cover line here, okay, I'm just going to turn my grid off so you can see this a little bit easier. Again, with this main cover line, I might change this up. I might just go for a bold font, just again to make sure that that main cover line stands out. Now, I could make it a little bit smaller to make sure it gets away from his shirt, but again, I'm going to experiment with tracking on this here, which is this one here. So again, I'm just looking at this. Actually, yeah. So I'm going to do the whole of those letters and make sure that I've got my my move tool selected rather than being in the type. And then again, that should now give me that to all. There we go, all the letters at the same time. So I might bring that down to that minus 50 because again it keeps it the same as the sort of masthead there. And what I also am unsure of here is this gap vertically. Okay, so again it's how it would normally be if you were typing sentences, but because we're trying to make this more artistic, we can come in here and we can experiment with what's called the leading size. Okay, and again, you might want it to be somewhere a little bit more, or you might want it to be somewhere less, or it might be like I am here, I can't quite get it. Between 48 and 64 is a bit too much. So I'm going to put it on 64, and then next to the arrow where you can click here and choose a size, you can actually do it literally point by point in either direction. Okay, so I'm going to bring mine down until I get it to where I want it to be, which is probably 58. Okay, again, these are little tweaks, but they can be something that makes that big difference. So again, what I'm thinking about here is, can I, instead of having to move that, you can see I've got a little bit of space on my image. No, I haven't, so I can't move my image a little more. So I'm going to have to make this just slightly smaller, just because I want my text to be on his jacket there. Okay, and again, I'm just going to move this here, and the rest of those I'm actually quite happy with. So that's just working with kind of leading and tracking, just to kind of tweak small things within the magazine design. Again, these are more advanced techniques. You don't necessarily need to do these. It's just something that you might want to experiment with or want to try with your design. And at this stage, I'm pretty confident that that's a great magazine cover. Obviously, when I'm doing my actual piece, I would change this to be the cover line. Again, things may need to change as you go through it. Again, looking at this, and this is just something that I'm seeing as I'm doing it. I'm just moving this info about the cover line just that little bit closer to the main cover line there. Again, it just feels right to me. Look at it as an overall piece. This is really important. When you're looking at and doing these final tweaks, make sure that it works as a final piece. Okay. Again, one last thing that I might do is I might just create another circle. Let's just do that. Again, these little advanced tools and techniques can really help you do that. Create another circle, but this time I'm not going to have any fill on it. I'm just going to have a border, and I'm just going to add that to my puff here. Again, experiment with it size-wise, get it roughly in place. That's a bit too small, obviously. And then just move that till you're happy. Wanting that shift down. And then I'm going to make that stroke a lot smaller. 10's way too much. I might go there, which means I can make this smaller again. And again, these are just little things that you can experiment with and play with. Again, just so you get used to the software amongst other things. And to get that to line up, we're just going to use a good old-fashioned align tool with circles. Make sure that you center them horizontally and vertically. Again, I quite like that as a stroke, or I might want to actually even go one step further and change that line into a dotted line, which you can see as I zoom in there. Just add that little bit of style to things. And again, if I really wanted to, I could make that same style on this circle here. I could add a swatch, a stroke there. So you can see I've got this kind of almost like a little sort of rosette style detail here on my puff now. And again, I'm going to leave that there. I think for me that's about finished, and that completes basically everything you need on a cover. Remember, we've got the masthead, we've got a tagline, we've got issue date, we've got a series of cover lines, we've got the main cover line, we've got a puff, we've got the logo of the company who's creating the magazine, we've got barcode so it can be sold, we've got the price there as well. Again, because our price is $4.95, we're not wanting to shout out about it. If our price was, say, 95p, that might be the puff itself. And then finally down here we've got the website link in this banner, and we've added a secondary image just at the bottom here, just to add a bit more style to the cover itself. So I hope you've enjoyed this series going through creating a cover from scratch in Affinity Publisher. What we'll do next is we're going to start to look at creating a double page spread. So I shall see you when we start that series. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I'll see you again soon.